Community. What that essentially is a community where everybody's equal and everybody puts in the same amount of the hours. You work 32 hours a week, and that all goes towards food, water, your shelter. You get a little monthly, like a budget, pretty much like $250 a month. You can spend that on tobacco or whatever you want to, you know. So you still have your own individual freedom as far as that goes. But in this egalitarian community, and when I went there, I went for a 3-week visit, and I didn't know what really to expect at first. I mean, to be honest, I thought I was going to find a bunch of hippies outside smoking weed and really just loving life, and that's not exactly what I found there. What I found was a mixture of all types of people. Not everyone agreed with everyone. Not one person had the exact same beliefs through and through. They had, you know, rocket scientists to just people that like to drink, that live there. And sure, they had their disagreements, but the way they handled them was truly inspirational to me. The other cool thing about this community is you didn't have the typical job. You didn't go out and work necessarily a 9 to 5 job every day. At this community, what they did was they set up that 32 hours is the minimum amount of hours that you can work. Once you work that 32 hours, it could be in any department they had, whether it be the dairy barn or the peanut factory where they produce organic peanut butters like almond butters, things like that, cashew butter. Or it could just be helping out cooking a meal for the 100+ people that live there. And all of these things, and a lot of it, when you think about it, is stuff that we naturally have to do anyways, like cook, clean, yard maintenance, things like that. And that was part of all of their hours right there. Now let's say you work over 32 hours. Let's say you work 40 hours, right? Those 8 hours, you get to put those back into a bank. So let's say a year from now you want to go take a little vacation and you've got 120 hours built up. Well, for each week that you're supposed to have 32 hours, you can take that bank of hours and you can divide it amongst to where you get like a 4-week vacation. And I thought that was a really cool idea because a lot of people like to go visit their family and stuff. There is where I came across the concept of why. Ish is a guy that told me that, and he was pretty awesome. Roxy, this was a pretty talented female. She played a violin, and it was beautiful. It was awesome. And if she's watching this video, I'm glad I remembered her name. But she told me something very wise. She said that it is better to travel alone than it is to travel with fools. So that was something interesting I learned from there. I watched these people debate and negotiate over probably about a $500,000 budget that they were going to have for the next year. That's a lot of money, $500,000. They broke it down and they talked about where it was going to go and what departments. And some people questioned about, well, do we need a bull this year? You know, do we need to buy that? And what, if we buy that, what's the potential goods going to be? And the reason why I bring this up is because people will always try to tell you that a situation like egalitarianism or communism, those systems don't work because it just leaves too much room for a certain set of people to take advantage of them. Which I do agree that's true in any type of government or form of, you know, organizing people together, that you could have people that abuse that system. Just because they do it doesn't mean that system is wrong. It just means that person did it the wrong way. And I firmly believe that about communism and capitalism. Or not communism and capitalism, but communism and socialism, things like that. What I do think is that the biggest thing that the reason why they wouldn't be so apt to an egalitarian community is because it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a scientist or a field worker, you're all the same. And I think that's something that people really struggle with, the identity behind ourselves. The other thing I'll mention there that I learned at the egalitarian community was that so, in closing about the egalitarian community, the biggest thing that I did learn there is that there's totally alternative ways of living our lives. The biggest thing I can advise you to do is look them up. They've got community centers all over the United States and all over the world where people are doing these things. Another word for this would be a co-op or a commune is a word, but just to let you know, within the community spectrum, that word to them seems like a different representation of what it actually is. In your idea, if you know what a commune is, if you don't, I'll explain it. Essentially, a commune is a place where, you know, you see the hippie movies where they're out there and living in tents and doing yoga and stuff like that. Communities that are successful have jobs, and they have positions and needs that need to be met, and, you know, are requirements for that community to be able to survive and function. So it's not just like you get to go out and just live in a tree and do whatever you want. I mean, there's definitely a level of success to be met. The other thing I'll talk about, guys, is within an egalitarian community, because this was just said to me about an hour ago from somebody, but they said essentially what I was promoting was laziness, and that is definitely not the case. I'm a true believer in hard work and determination, and that will help you get you somewhere else. And we call that succession or progress. The difference is, and what I ultimately believe the goal is, to where some people believe, is what is success, and how do we rate success? Is it by the amount of money you have in your bank account, about your 401k, your house, your car, these things? No, to me that success based off of materialistic items is insignificant. Where I kind of came across that idea is from a book called The Kingdom of Knowledge, and it talks about, I want to say that it's pretty much a Hindu book, and it talks about false proprietorship and our possessions, how they essentially control us. When I started off on my Buddha walk, which I wouldn't say my journey's ended, but I've definitely become stationary in one place for right now. But when I started off on that, I donated everything I had. That book had a lot to do with that, false proprietorship. These items that I had, like couches and aquariums and flat screen TVs, none of these things actually provided a life for me. They provided me with things that held me back from the true life that I want to go after. I think that in talking about ideas like egalitarian communities, you're always going to get someone that's going to oppose that. Maybe it's because of lack of education of what it actually truly means to be an egalitarian community. I think also the other spectrum of it would be that people who have bought into the system and who have succeeded definitely would feel that why does someone else deserve what they've worked so hard to create, to make. When I talk about redistribution of wealth, I'm not talking about millionaires having to give up their millions, because to me their millions means nothing to me. It's insignificant. When I talk about wealth, it's almost the way I interpretate power, where we have the four necessities of life: food, water, air, and shelter. Those four things. That's as wealthy as I want to be, is those four things. And Mila said something about going back to the old days and living in camping trees and stuff like that. And to me, I'm down for that idea. Now, is everybody? No way. There's not everybody's going to want to go do that. So I think that the real thing is there should be options, viable options for that. So that's actually today's episode. Hopefully you'll stay tuned, and we're going to have some more videos this week. I do want to give a shout out to Paul. I know that he's supposed to have his video up at some point today. So if you get a chance to watch that, go tune into his channel. It's called Trew's Tunes, and he does a little jam out session, which is fun. And also Russell Brand, once again, man, truly an inspiration. Thanks for all the people that you're bringing to our attention, all the facts and the knowledge that you're putting out there for us.